Today, I want to talk about how Mullen is about to prove the existence and creation of 5 billion synthetic shares in Core. This is a landmark investigation that will lead to the exposure of exactly how many AMC synthetics actually exist. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I'll dive straight in with the key information. So, StockSense Frank tweeted saying Mullen files a landmark federal spoofing lawsuit to combat artificially deflated stock prices. It says Christian Attar Law Firm, in partnership with Warshaw Burstein LLP, in association with forensic investigators, have concluded the magnitude of the spoofing is unprecedented, resulting in over 5 billion shares being issued at artificially deflated prices since the company's Nasdaq debut in November 2021. So that's 5 billion synthetic shares created for Mullen since November of 2021. But let's also take a look at the article. It says Mullen Automotive, an emerging EV manufacturer, today announces the company has filed a complaint in the US District Court for the Southern District of New York, alleging that UBS Securities, IMC Financial Markets, and Clear Street Markets, the defendants, engaged in a market manipulation scheme. That market manipulation scheme violated multiple securities of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. And Wes Christian said, in the 21 years our team has been prosecuting market manipulation cases against Wall Street, I believe this could be one of the largest and strongest spoofing and market manipulation cases we've ever handled. After working with consultants and investigative experts, I believe the damage model could be in the billions of dollars. And remember, this isn't a small class action lawsuit being submitted by a few individuals. This is a lawsuit being submitted by Mullen Automotive themselves. And as I said, it's alleging that over 5 billion shares were issued at artificially deflated prices. Now, if over 5 billion additional shares of Mullen were sold at artificially deflated prices, I can only imagine how big that number must be for AMC. I also found this tweet very interesting that I also think further proves the existence of synthetic shares. So Ryan tweeted saying, it's official. They're not allowing GameStop to report the true DRS share count. For 4 straight quarters, the DRS numbers have maxed out, not increasing at all. After going from 0 to 80 million shares in the first year, it hasn't changed at all over the last 4 quarters. But he said, we know for a fact that as the share price has dropped, more retail investors have bought additional shares, especially in GameStop, due to those registered shares becoming cheaper. He said, if you look at the chart of shares outstanding and the chart of DRS shares, what's that unnatural leveling off and flattening about? He said the trend lines were all heading up at the same time, and then all of a sudden we've hit a maximum of allowable DRS'able shares. And that's in order to cover up the obvious naked short selling that's occurred. So if you look at this chart in purple, you can see the DRS shares were increasing massively in 2021 and then have had almost zero movement ever since. Which, as I say, is odd because retail investors in both AMC and GameStop have done nothing but buy over the last couple of years. As the Friendly Panda added, he said, this has confirmed my suspicion that GameStop has a maximum number of DRS'able shares they can report because of the DTCC. So it seems not only is Mullen having a problem with synthetic shares, but GameStop and AMC are obviously both having the exact same problem. We also have one of our best ever days today in the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group, with Bjorn locking in nearly $900 of profits in around 30 minutes. So today's trade today was on SVFD. I called this out in the pre-market saying if it can break $4.50 and hold above that level, it will push higher. I called it not just once at $4.50, but also said on the break of $5, it will push higher again. And that's exactly what happened with a gain of 67.45%. Bjorn bought in the shares at $4.14, buying in a little bit early and selling at $7 per share. And you guessed it, it wasn't just Bjorn locking in nearly $900 in 30 minutes. Moses held for just 4 minutes and made $140. Van took out a 35% profit, and Mr. Mo, who always knows, locked in 15% and another 10% on top of that. The group absolutely killed SVFD today, and if you want to jump in on these plays as well, making nearly $900 in 30 minutes, be sure to join the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group linked in the description below. Kat has also tweeted the top 10 funds that are currently betting against AMC through put options. Again, as I showed you with GameStop a few days ago, tons of these names are super familiar. We've got Susquehanna, we've got Nut Tree Capital, we've got Group 1 Trading, we've got HAP Trading, EMG Holdings, Pentwater Capital Management, Simplex Trading, Citadel Advisors, IMC Chicago, who have just popped up in that Mullen lawsuit, and Jane Street Group as well. And many of these, like Jane Street, IMC, Citadel, Simplex, and Susquehanna, are the exact same entities, not just shorting AMC, but shorting GameStop too. Now, Travis's tweet is saying what's going to mess up these short sellers on AMC is an actual dividend. Now, he's answered saying why. He said too many people own way more than the actual flow on AMC. Now, as we just talked about, that's currently being proven by Mullen and also seems to have also been proven by GameStop as well, as their DRS share count seemingly can't increase. Now, he said obviously AMC is not going to pay out dividends on all of those counterfeit shares. All of those counterfeit shares and their dividends must be paid by the shorting hedge funds. Now, I do think an actual dividend is one of those possible catalysts for the squeeze. I've not said it's guaranteed. The only thing I think is guaranteed is when the market crashes and these hedge funds get liquidated, that's when AMC will squeeze. But even though I think this is a possibility, one thing that I know isn't necessarily correct is this last line of his tweet. He said investigations can lead to deletion of those counterfeit shares, which, as I said, isn't correct because that would mean these brokers have to delete shares from your accounts. I think there would be a significant uproar if tons of people that were holding AMC and GameStop just had those shares deleted and their money stolen. Therefore, counterfeit shares cannot be deleted. Counterfeit shorts aren't deleted and lost forever. Those shorts and that liability still exist. The share has been sold to you, I, and many other people, and that liability needs to be resolved and the position closed out of. If anything, an investigation like the one Mullen is performing is good because the courts could actually enforce closure of these synthetic positions. We know the SEC isn't going to enforce that closure, but maybe the US district courts will. Now, Hang Loose and 741 Trey have also tweeted this excellent explanation of when conspiracy theories become conspiracy facts. So there was this recent lawsuit against SoFi who failed to establish and maintain a reasonably designed supervisory system. They were lending out all customer shares without asking those customers for permission and keeping all of those profits. It says from January 2019 through March 2023, more than 2 million customers were automatically enrolled into the share lending program. SoFi received $8 million in revenue from its clearing firm for lending of its customer shares. However, none of that revenue was ever paid to SoFi's customers. During that period, SoFi customers lost SIPC insurance, they lost their voting rights, and they also lost their dividends. And Hang Loose has asked, when will these banks actually start losing their licenses? These banks continue to make mistakes every single day, being just fined by the SEC over and over and over and over again, never learning from those mistakes because they're obviously intentional crimes. It really should get to a point when intentional crimes become too much and the license should just be taken away. But as I said, it seems the SEC won't be doing that. They'll just issue tiny speed bump fines and ignore the problem. But hopefully that's where the US District Court step in. And finally, Vaughn tweeted saying his broker told him yesterday that nobody is selling, but everyone wants to buy. And he said that's all he needed to hear. Now, I don't know who Vaughn's broker is, I don't know who he called or if he's got record of that conversation, but it's very interesting. Even the brokers are saying that no one is selling and that everyone wants to buy. And why that's interesting is because the OBV is telling the exact same thing that these brokers are showing. The OBV for AMC has been continually increasing over the last 3 years, suggesting no one is selling. But guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.